Respect.
A golden age, no less. My goodness me, Caroline Levitt there speaking in superlatives. So what is the US president looking to achieve? And is his visit good news for us here in the UAE? Let us get analysis. Joining us is Assistant Professor Dr. Ahmad Rashad. He is at the Anwar Gargash Diplomatic Academy right here in the UAE, a very well respected organisation. And a great pleasure to have you join us, Dr. Rashad. Thank you very much for your time. Tell us, why do you think President Trump chose the Middle East as his first major foreign trip of his second term?
Good morning. Let me first start by give you some context of what do we know in the academic literature about state visits and its importance. So it has been, state visits have been an important tool of diplomacy, starting from the Emperor Hadrian or to the Wilhelm II. So basically, it's always a tool of diplomacy. What we have been seeing in the US, for example, and giving you some statistics, is that there are a long-term increase in the number of US state visits abroad. So for example, in 1960, you had around US president visit around 7 countries per year. And looking to the year 2000, this number has increased to 16 visits. So we see a long-term increase in the number of state visits as diplomacy is moving more and more toward economic issues. So what do we know about this state visit, whether it has a measurable economic impact? So from the literature, we know is that usually it comes with about 8 to 10% increase in exports of the visiting country. So of course it marks a new beginning of bilateral relations and could be also an initiating factor for business deals and for investment as well. So it should be seen as a good sign.
Yeah, so basically good news for us. And when I ask you a question, what is in it for us? It sounds like what's in it is economic deals, business deals.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's all about the choice is all about, of course, President Trump is maybe looking for investment from sovereign wealth funds of the region who are controlling trillions of dollars, and he's looking for more investments. And maybe more also discussing the future of oil markets and so on. So basically, sovereign wealth funds will be a key target.
So the White House has said explicitly that trade is top of the agenda. Now, trade has been top of the pops when it comes to policies that President Trump has introduced since he took the presidency, moved into the White House for a second time. So far, it's been quite a tempestuous relationship. He kicked off by imposing 10% tariffs on every single country, plus quite a lot extra for some of the others. Do you think there's any chance that we might see an agreement during this trip that sees that base 10% rate reduced for countries in the Middle East, including, importantly, us here in the UAE?
Generally, the Gulf country does not have a trade surplus with the US, so the possibility is there. But also, I would like to highlight that the exposure of the in terms of trade between the US and Gulf country is not that big. So basically, it's not very significant factor on the Gulf trade, whether you have a 10% or 5%. There are some, of course, some important exports, for example, from the UAE, which means that aluminium exports are quite a big source of export revenue. But still, overall, is not that big, even if looking tariff rate going down from 10% to 5% will not change things significantly. I think what is more important is that we have economic stability and we have an economic growth, and then it will spill over to the regions through other trading partners.
What sectors do you think will be most attractive to the Americans? Where do you think we could see the deals? I know that obviously we've had a great relationship with Microsoft, a big American company investing quite literally billions of dollars in this country. Do you think, will it just be the tech sector, or we'll see other sort of fields of unity?
I think Gulf countries are focusing, and especially the UAE, are focusing on AI and high quality semiconductors. And they are looking forward to easing restrictions on semiconductors and also investment in these areas. So I think the sectors will be the main target is the AI and technology as the key sectors.
Okay, so regional security also set to rank very high on the agenda. That we all know about the ongoing tensions in the region. So, what role do you think President Trump is hoping the United States can play?
I think we expect from this visit more de-escalation of the situation. I think it will be building deals and more economic benefits. So I expect more and more towards the direction of de-escalation in the region.
Looking ahead, do you see this visit as potentially setting the tone for, I guess, US Middle East relations going forward? And do you think that the relationship's going to differ from President Trump's first term?
Absolutely. I think the visit will be, as I mentioned, will be an initiating factor for more business deals and more investment deals and trade deals, because like he's initiated this, so it will continue to build on this. Whether there is a difference from the first visit, I don't think so. I think it's more deepening than there is a market difference. So I expect it to be more sort of deepening the relation more and more with the Middle East.
Sarah, it's been a great pleasure to have you join us on the agenda again. Thank you so much for your time and your insights. We really appreciate it. Assistant Professor Dr. Ahmad Rashad there. He's from the Anwar Gargash Diplomatic Academy. Really, really interesting to get those views. And of course, we're kind of on tenterhooks slightly. You just heard, if you were listening to the Business Breakfast, Tom Urquhart mentioned that quite a lot of schools in Riyadh have been closed. Quite a lot of roads have been closed. And of course, we're sort of closely anticipating what might happen on Thursday when President Trump visits the UAE. At the moment, he's just going to Abu Dhabi, so it wouldn't affect people in Dubai and the other Emirates. But who knows where his trip might take him? I'd be very interested to know if you remember the last time a US president visited the UAE, whether you remember, for example, President Bush, maybe. Do you get in touch with your recollections? I'd love to hear from you. 4001, or you can WhatsApp me on 04871 5500.